What is up, Need for Speed Racers? It's I, your wheelman, Alex Cornnut, and we're here with the Lamborghini Countach for A+ class. This car is one of my favorites, not in the game, but just personally. Like, as a kid, The Cannonball Run was a movie that I saw early on, and I think that caused me to develop into a bit of a car nut. If you don't know what I'm talking about, this movie is amazing. It is a coast-to-coast race from the Red Ball Garage up in the northeast part of the country, all the way to the Portofino Inn on the southwest part of the country. So it's a long coast-to-coast route, and they race across the country, non-stop, just going for it. And it's really a very fun movie. But the opening sequence is this car. It's all blacked out in the movie, but it's going just hard, super fast on the highway. You're hearing the engine scream, and a couple of really good looking chicks are driving it. And it's just like, overall, the way it is presented, I think it changed me a little bit by watching it. Like, it's just like, and that is something that I want to do, kind of deal. And they're running from the police, and they're just having no problem getting away, and it's just way cool. Like, they end up pulling over, and the speed limit sign is 55, and she takes spray paint, and she sprays over it, and puts 155. And it's just, the way it's presented, this car looks like an absolute badass. And it is, for its time. And so, to pay homage to that, because we've already done a couple Lamborghinis this week, we're going to keep going on that. I've got a couple more for you. It's Lamborghini week here on the channel. Overall, in A+, this car is not amazing. It's not meta. It's not going to be like you build this and you just win automatic kind of deal. If you win in this car, you're fighting for it. It's not a bad vehicle. And I show some gameplay clips at the end. Like, I walk down a couple of cars and I do just fine. It handles. It's not bad. It's well put together. But it is not top tier. So let's just get that out of the way. If you're looking for top tier cars, or you're trying to save your dollars to get specific vehicles, this is one I would pass on. If you're balling out of control, you want to have a cool Lambo, you want to build the Countach, this is the way I would build it if I was in your shoes. So that being said, let's dig right in. This is a really fun little car. Me and Nil spent a lot of time on it. We're really happy with it. It's pretty sweet. So for the engine you guys are going to be putting in this one, it is the Sport V12 motor, the 5.2 liter. It is the bronze motor all the way to the left. 5.2 liter V12, not the 5.7. There's a couple other V12s you can put in it. That's the one. It's all the way to the left. From there, you go down to your parts. You are going to do bronze induction, which is the sport part. So sport bronze induction. You're going to be doing elite platinum ECU. You're going to be doing elite platinum fuel system. You will be doing sport exhaust bronze. You will be doing naturally aspirated. We've done a couple of NA cars this week. This is another one. It does all right. The NA motor feels a little different. I'll talk about that in a little bit, but just know that you're all the way to the left, iron part, naturally aspirated, no install. You're running the bronze sport nitrous system. You are running elite platinum regular suspension, not the road suspension, just the regular suspension. You're running bronze sport brakes. You're running elite grip tires, the platinum part, all the way to the right. Not all the way, but the platinum one, of course, you guys. We are running just a regular bronze sport clutch. You are running the 5-speed sport transmission, bronze. You're running the elite differential. This car only gets to 60% grip. It's rowdy, so make sure that you grab that differential so we can run the slider all the way over. The auxiliaries on this one, I was running nitrous grip, nitrous near miss. I'm going to strongly recommend you run nitrous grip or nitrous drift. This is kind of slidey because we only get 60% grip, so this might be one to run a little more drifty. And also run draft. You're going to be chasing more in this car than I would like to really be comfortable with. That's why I don't highly recommend it, because honestly, it's not a bad car, but it's not meta. So if you're running guys that are in faster cars, you're going to be chasing them. You're going to be working for it. So your lines have to be pretty pristine. So I would run maybe nitrous drift, nitrous draft. For handling, slide the slider as far to the left as you can. That's only 60%, so it makes the car pretty rowdy. Steering sensitivity, I'm 2 clicks up. Downforce, I'm 2 clicks over. Excuse me, let me go down to that. You can run it this way, but it puts it at 269. We didn't have anywhere to do with that part, so we just run it a little bit less downforce. It might be worth running super high, but the car loses a little bit of speed in the corners, so to try to avoid a little bit of that, we ran a little less downforce. But you can kind of pretty much do anything from there to the right. That slider is going to keep you in the class, but anything to the left of that, and it's a 270, so it puts it into S. So just be aware of that, you guys. I'm running it about there. I'm trying to get as much downforce off the car as possible and still keep it in the class. Traction control off. Drift entry is off. All of that being said, that's going to give you the Lamborghini Countach 25th anniversary 1988. 187 top speed. It will get there. 568 on the horsepower. 457 on the torque. It's a pretty good car. The stats are good for its weight. It balances out. It's just, it doesn't have all the grip of the other cars in the class, and so it's a little rowdy. It's a little harder to drive, and being naturally aspirated, it doesn't just get into boost and then accelerate quickly. It's a very linear acceleration curve, and so it's good to drive. It feels good. It has power in the corners if you're in the right gear, but it doesn't catch up very well. Like, you're not going to out accelerate someone else and then you pay for it with less grip. It's like you're going to accelerate about the same as everyone else and you have less grip. So it's a little lesser of a car in this tier, but it's a wonderful car. And like I say, it's Lamborghini week. There's a lot of people that like the Countach, so we figured we would do a build that was as good as we could get for A+ and make it work. We tried it in S, and it does struggle more in comparison in S class because there's so many really dominant S cars, and so slotting it into A+, it kept up a little better. And if you go into pub lobbies, it's pretty good. For the styling portion, run anything you want. Wide body, we tested this. It really doesn't matter statistically on paper. There was no change that we could find, but I've had people report, and myself, I reported that I thought there was a difference. So do whatever you like. I'm running a wide body kit on it, and just put those wheels on it. That's not the stock wheels, but they kind of look like it, so I really like the way that looked. And overall, the car just looks really cool. It's kind of a blend of what the original Countach looked like and what we might grab out of Cyberpunk 2077. So it's right there in the middle. The car is amazing. It's what the 80s thought the future would look like, and as it turns out, we got really soft and boring with our lines, and this thing is spectacular. I love the way this car looks, you guys. Overall, that's the build. The car is a lot of fun to drive. It's a lot of fun to look at, and when you do win in it, you feel pretty cool. So if you've got some money to burn, go build it. Go enjoy it. It's a great car. I've got some gameplay footage after this. 2 legit races, and then one where I take a super good degen line, and I'm showing you guys how to go through the gas station. I miss the gas, or I miss my exit out of the gas station, and I end up clipping some rocks and doing a 360 no-scope into a drift. It causes me to lose the race overall, cost me my win, but it's like probably one of the better moves I pulled off on accident, so I threw that in there as well. Outside of that, I'm Alex Cornnut, your wheelman. It's Lamborghini week. I did 2 already. We got 2 more coming. Have a great rest of your day. Like, subscribe, follow. Bye-bye. Alright, this race is kind of fun. There's a couple things I want you guys to see. I do launch in manual transmission. We're going up against some other all-wheel drive cars that are just really fast off the launch, faster than this one. But because we're driving manual, we walk them. And then you'll notice our man in first place, Deadly Wraith. He's a real degenerate and doesn't know how to drive. I was going to pass him there. I knew he was coming over. I got out of the way. He's taking the exit. Like, that's a skill issue. If you can't take a pass like a man and let somebody get by you because they're driving better than you, you really don't have any business playing a racing game. This, like, just take it, let it happen, and draft and try to catch back up. It just drives me nuts. But anyway, Tylek's behind me is about the only competition we really have in this particular playlist. He's driving that Nismo. It's pretty fast. We're working really hard to stay ahead in the Countach. Watch how the Countach loses speed on the corners. Like, I try to take very wide corners, but when this car turns, it just slows down. I'm out of nitrous. I'm going to hit the gas station. Top it up. Use all of it. Try to get back up to speed to walk away from Tylek's. We're not walking away. He's staying right with me. He's in the draft back there. He's getting yellow boost. And so I'm staying in oncoming, trying to build my boost bar as much as possible, and just doing what I can to bank it. I know there's a corner coming up here. We're going to end up going left. I think on the top end, this car does okay, but it's got a really long 5th gear. Like, you go from about 130 to 175, 180, so, like, that 5th gear is so long that it's kind of sluggish at the low end. But overall, make it through the corner, use all of our boost. We're staying just ahead of him. Pretty smooth win in this car. There he is, Captain Bumper Cars himself. I digress. We never see that kid for the rest of this race. We launch in third. You'll watch that we launch hard and we use our start boost to just carry that all the way through. It trails off, and then we use the rest of our nitrous to get us up into the proper rev range. So third gear launches very well in this car. Fourth gear takes us to about 140. And then after that, when we shift into fifth gear is just super long. So this car's got a long top end. It takes a little while to stretch its legs. But overall, this track you're going to be mostly in fourth gear. You'll see I cut over to the left here. I'm trying to be in oncoming and also get the near misses on the left-hand side there. We'll go into this with at least one yellow bar, which you typically wouldn't have if you weren't doing that. Allows us to get the boost, shoot straight forward. Using that wall is not optimal. If you can go to the left of those cars, that's better, but not always does your line set yourself up for that. I try to do the same thing. I'm going to go get an oncoming, get near misses. There's one car that's poked out just a little bit there. That one, that purple one, and which I clipped it. It put me into that oncoming traffic. That's the risk versus reward. Now, Tylix, he missed the checkpoint right there. He got into me. I think he was trying to avoid me to carry his speed, but in doing so, he missed the checkpoint. So, had he not have missed the checkpoint and hit me, he probably would be far enough in front of us that I wouldn't be able to catch back up, because this car really does struggle with the overall acceleration. It carries good speed. It's fast, but it doesn't get to its top speed quick enough to really be super, super viable. You got to use a lot of nitrous. You really need to use as much of your yellow boost as possible. You'll see I'm taking very, very shallow corners, meaning I'm not turning very sharp, because the sharper you turn, the more speed you shave off, because this car loses a lot of speed when you turn. I'm doing more of the near misses on this side, not in oncoming. Try to go in there. I slide just a little bit to get the 2-bar, and that was a much better line. I'm on the wrong side of this corner, but I just take it a little sharper. I'm all right. This is where I say the car's a little rowdy. I was a little out of control there. It really is a difficult car to drive overall. There's that purple car again. I see how I clip it. It's poking out more than all the other parked cars. So be aware of that, you guys. When you're doing this track, beware of the purple SUV. It'll get you. But other than that, just doing a little bit of degen lines, getting a few grip turns if we can, accelerating to the finish, and it's a pretty clean win overall. Tylix was really our only competition. Captain Ramrod back there is nowhere close. All right, for the final clip, we got full X Games mode to developer error, as I'm going to call it. So we'll just see how it all goes. We try to launch in fourth this time. I want to try something new just to see. Not good. Lugging it. I actually downshift to third, so that way I can try to regain some of that acceleration. Obviously not working very good. Stay Blazed is doing his thing. I do not intentionally get into him there. I'm just holding my line. He's kind of drifting how things go. Tylix is going to try to pass me on the left up here. This car turns a little wide. I'm trying to not lose a lot of speed, and so it might look like I'm kind of forcing him to the outside, but I'm really not. I'm just trying to kind of hold my line and do my thing. So he's going to clap a boost right up here and right there, and I'm just kind of trying to hold my line. Car's a little rough. I cut through the gas station. I'm going to refill my NOS. Awesome. Straight for the checkpoint. Full X Games mode, because we clipped the rock into a drift. And I was still sliding when I capped my 2 boost, and so it didn't help me accelerate at all. So that was rather unfortunate. So now it's like I got to do everything I can to try to catch up. When I'm in first, I tend to drive kind of like the Stig, calm, collected, composed. Everything's good. If I get in second or third place, I'm out here driving like Corella DeVille, just absolute insanity, or crashing into all kinds of stuff, just driving like a degenerate. You'll see I get a little loose there, and then I snap oversteer on the return, miss the checkpoint, it all goes south. So any chance of catching up went away right there, because now there's no way we're catching Tylix. He's 800 yards ahead. We're driving hard, using our boost to try to get back up to speed. Fifth gear is kind of the downfall of this car. It's just a little long. It's hard to stay in the power. We don't really have any boost to speak of on the yellow side of things. I was able to drift and kind of get a grip turn there. So this map is set up to where you hit the drawbridge and you go up on top. If the drawbridge is down, it resets you. And some of you guys probably had that happen. So here's what happens when the drawbridge is up and you're actually going fast. We're going to call this developer error. That is a piss poor way to design a track. And so we actually lose a position because the guy behind us was going slower. He didn't jump as far. He didn't crash and get reset, and he's holding his speed. So Deadly Wraith, the Crasher Wrecker, actually beats us in that playlist.